Molweni manene na manene kazi, nam kelekile nonke, balande le bamangwindi. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second edition of a Druk Show on the Sejuta Sports Channel on Buzz ETV. I am Drux Malan. I'm a South African correspondent for Ring Magazine, and you can also follow my blog at www.couchpotatofightguru.blogspot.com. Now, this weekend, once again, we're in for a big treat. What a month of September we are having, and this is the last one to close out the month. On tomorrow night, Friday night, in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia at the King Abdullah Sports City of all places, two Brits will duke it out in the final of the World Boxing Super Series Super Middleweight Tournament. Now, the World Boxing Super Series, it seems, has been a tremendous success. We've had the cruiserweight part of a tournament crowning an undisputed cruiserweight champion in Alexander Usyk, who collected all 4 major belts plus the Ring Magazine title. And now we'll see the final of a super middleweight tournament where George Groves will put his WBA super middleweight championship of the world on the line against undefeated countryman Callum Smith. And also the vacant Ring Magazine title for the super middleweights will be at stake. Why is it taking place in Jeddah, of all places? This would have possibly been a huge stadium fight in the UK in front of their supporters. Well, the Arabs like their boxing too, and they put up the money, and if you pay, you save, as the saying goes. And this is an intriguing matchup as well. George Groves, fight fans will know him very well. He made his name as a young upstart when he challenged Carl Frosch for his IBF title, and nobody gave him too much of a chance, but he surprised a lot of people. He knocked Frosch down, and he was ahead on points when going into the 9th round. He was stunned by a few blows, and the referee jumped in and stopped the fight. Very controversial stoppage. Most people thought it was mature. Led to a rematch. This time Frosch left no doubt. He knocked George Groves senseless along the ropes with a right hand who would have felled a tree, set up by a nice throwaway left hook. And Groves picked himself up, won 4 fights, got himself another title shot. This time he faced Badu Jack for the WBC title in Las Vegas. Was a good fight. He fought admirably, but just wasn't enough. He lost a split decision, and most people thought that is his best chance out of a window. Once again, he wouldn't go away. He recorded some more wins, one of them over Martin Murray, that we South Africans know very well. Wide decision, battered Murray from pillar to post. And then he got another title shot and was third time lucky. He stopped Fedor Churinov in 6 rounds in a give and take affair for the vacant WBA title. Now, that victory also punched his ticket of entry into the WBSS Super Middleweight Tournament. And that was a big thing for him because he started it out stopping countryman Jamie Cox in 4 rounds. Nice little shootout, give and take affair. And then possibly, I think, his signature performance of his career was in February of this year, when he won a wide decision. He took Chris Eubank Jr. to school, absolutely schooled him, except in the last round he had a wobbly moment. His left shoulder got badly dislocated, and somehow he saw out that round fighting with one hand, and he romped home a quick decision, a wide decision winner. Now, that injury caused the postponement from February. We should have already been done with this series, because it had to heal first. I've dislocated my knee in my previous days when I did a bit of sport, and I know that's no joke, and the shoulder is very much the same as the knee, is a complex joint. So the other guy standing across from him, Callum Smith, still undefeated. Now he, in the World Boxing Super Series, beat 2 undefeated fighters. One is Erik Skoglund, whom we know well in South Africa, the guy Raymond Liebenberg fought, the Swede, and he won a comfortable decision over Scotland. And then he did the same. He fought a relatively unknown Nicky Holskin, who's more famous as a kickboxer, but he was a late replacement for the injured Jürgen Breimer, and he won pretty much well as he pleased there, 2 decisions. Now, if we look at Callum Smith style-wise, he stands 6'3" in his socks. He's a very tall super middleweight, and he knows how to fight tall. You get guys like WBA and IBF junior middleweight champion Jared Hurd, who doesn't use his height advantage, he just brawls. But in the case of Smith, he knows how to use that advantage. So number one thing you have here, tall guy, he's got a very well schooled long pole axe of a jab that he keeps in his opponent's face, and then he's got the right hand, short straight right hand, classic combination of a jab right after that. But he's not a typical European, even though he's upright, he's not a typical European jab, jab, right hand, 1-2, and clinch kind of fighter. He's got more to his arsenal. He can whip the jab into a left hook. He can do the jab and go with a right hook to the body. He can do the Mexican left hook downstairs if he wants to. He's got some combinations inside. He can do a bit of everything, and that's what I like about him. On the downside, he hasn't been through the mill nearly as much as George Groves, who, win or lose, has competed at the very highest level. Now, so there's question marks hanging over Callum Smith. How good is he really? Is he as good as the Carl Frosches of this world? Is he as good as the Badu Jacks? I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as Carl Frosch. I might be wrong, but I think maybe he's as good as a Badu Jack. But we're going to find that out. His defense is very basic. He keeps his hands up and he covers up when his opponent is inside. He doesn't punch with him. He waits for a gap and then he starts punching back. And for the rest, he uses his jab to keep his opponent away and his legs to carry him out of harm's way. I have noticed, though, that even a basic sort of guy like Nicky Holskin could trap him on the ropes and tee off on him for a while. Maybe he wasn't too much bothered about Holskin. He wants to avoid that against Groves. So those things I see. So far, he's been taking a good crack. Can he take the kind of power that George Groves deliver? We don't know. We'll have to find out. So that is the intriguing part of his matchup. Now, George Groves, the rap against him has always been that he doesn't handle the pressure too much. I think he's learning how to handle it better. He's a boxer puncher, but he doesn't mind a tee up if he fancies it, like we saw against Jamie Cox. But he can also, I think he's learned to stick to a game plan and box a guy. You know, if he brawled with Chris Eubank Jr., he might have gotten in trouble, but he stuck to that game plan and he kept boxing Eubank Jr. So I think he's learned to adapt as he got on in his career. Then people have said that his chin is not so great. Now, the right hand Frosch knocked him out with, anyone could have not been knocked out by that. So I wouldn't say that is a big thing, but he's been down against Badu Jack, and he's been wobbled against Frosch in the first fight. So, and I noticed that he does get caught by right hands. You know, if you're going to reach him with a jab, you're going to catch him with that right. And I think that is where Smith may get his opportunity. Now, if I am George Groves, what I would do here, I've noticed that Callum Smith has a bad habit that sometimes he just puts that left stick out there, just puts the jab out there instead of snapping it, just as a sort of a rangefinder. Now, a guy who's athletic and's got the explosiveness of George Groves can slip in under that jab, quickly get close and throw a fast right over the top. And if he does that, I'd say, you know, the big thing with Smith is he's so tall, he's got that reach. But on the other side, that means his body is also big. There's a big target there. Go through for a few shots in the body. Head combination to the head and the body. See how Smith reacts. And if he's hurt, then try and finish him. But elsewhere, just fall into a clinch, let the referee separate, get out of a kill zone, get out of his range, and set yourself up for another attack. In and out fighting, that's what I would do if I was George Groves. Now, Callum Smith, use your height, use your reach, and I'm sure he will do that. If he can reach Groves with a jab, he's going to nail him with a right hand as well. And I would keep it on the outside. Smith can fight on the inside as well. I think Groves will be a bit better there. If Groves gets close to him, do that combination to the head body and then tie him up or get out. Don't hang around on the ropes, but use your reach advantage. Who's going to win? There's some intangibles with Callum Smith, and this is the fight where we'll see if he can make the step from top contender to world champion. It's a step up fight for him. He can fall apart or he can prosper. And I have a hunch that it's going to be the latter. So I expect George Groves to have his moments, and I expect Smith to be on his heels a couple of times, but I think the times that Groves will have success with that will be less than a success that Callum Smith will have with that long jab, and I think he's going to nail him with that right hand. at some point in time, and he might put him down with that. And as we know in the scorecards, that digs you into a hole. So I am going with Smith in this one, and I'll tell you why. If we look at the losses of Groves, Cole Frosch is 6'1", Bardo Jack 6'1". Now Smith is even taller. I think Groves struggle a bit with the tall, rangy guys. So I think that might just be the difference against Callum Smith. Smith is not as tested, he's been in less wars, hasn't had it so tough as Groves had it in this tournament. Even the Jamie Foxx fight, the Jamie Cox fight, he had to take a few shots. So I'm going to stick my neck out here. I think Groves is probably a slight favourite, and he has proven me wrong in the past, but I think Callum Smith will force his style in the fight more than Groves will be able to force his. So I'm going with Callum Smith to eventually wear Groves down. I'm worried about George Groves' left shoulder as well. You know, you can hold off a Chris Eubank Jr. for one round with one hand, and that's already takes some doing. You sure as heck not going to hold off Callum Smith for a couple of rounds fighting with one hand. So that worries me in the back of my mind about Groves. And so I think it will be a very well fought fight. Smith will get the better of it more so than Groves after some rocky moments. And I think I'm going with Smith to score a late round stoppage, a referee stoppage over George Groves once he starts eating too many of those right hands. And we will have a new champion on Friday night. With that, please send us in your opinions. We'll have a nice discussion about that. My email should be on the links. And until we see each other next week, keep those gloves on.